Shall we begin?
So working on the hull of the paddle boat, I'm going to start by making a few marks on the styrofoam. I'm using the ruler to measure out points. I'm not really specific with those measurements, but what I am doing is trying to make sure that what I'm building is as symmetrical as possible, that it's measured out so that the middle of the boat is in the right spot, the center of the boat is centered. I'm going to use my cardboard cutter to cut the foam. Remember that I'm showing you this in high speed just to keep the video short, but feel free to pause it whenever you want to. I'm going to mark out a spot where I'm going to sink my motor down into the foam just a little bit, but the part I'm marking out here is a space where I'm going to cut completely through the foam for the paddle wheel to actually stick through the boat down into the water so that the paddles are pushing water underneath the boat. So I'm going to use the cardboard cutter again. I'm going to clear out this larger rectangle just to be able to cut that out. You got to kind of work the corners of that to get it to pop out and just kind of carefully pry at it and push it out. Always best to keep your spot clean if you can keep all those
Let's begin now.
Now if we move on to the circuit, it always helps to lay out your circuit first just to kind of see what you're looking at. And then I'll go through and I'll strip all the ends of the wires. Now usually if they're pre-stripped, I'll even strip them a little bit more because I need a little more wire to twist them together. It's easiest to start with the switch. I'll put a red and a black wire into the terminals of the switch, making sure that they are not touching across the two terminals. If you look at the video that I have on soldering, you'll see this whole process explained in a bit more detail to make it a little bit easier. But soldering the switch is a pretty easy process. It's easy to get the wires onto the switch first and then work from there. So now I'm going to solder the black wire of the switch to the red wire of the battery snap. And if you follow that connection carefully right along with the video, you will get the motor will spin in the right direction. It'll spin counterclockwise in the end. So make sure you're taping up any of the soldering joints to prevent any shorts. I'm going to go from the black wire of the battery snap to the red wire of the motor now. I'm going to solder that and then I'm going to tape that up as well. Again, remember to refer to the soldering video if you need a primer on that, or if you are not going to be soldering, go ahead and look at the alternatives to soldering video. Now there's only one solder joint left, the red wire from the battery snap and the blue wire from the motor. Doing in that direction is going to make sure that the motor turns in a counterclockwise direction. So go ahead and solder and tape that joint and you'll be ready to put the motor onto the boat.
Let's begin now.